You're watching Central Illinois' best source for news and weather. WAND News at 4 starts now.
Answering questions now at 4, FBI agents prepare to hold a news conference about a kidnapping investigation. We're going to take you there as we learn the latest in this investigation. Plus, a budget veto, the mistake made by lawmakers. Now the governor is acting, the changes that must be made. We are going to start with breaking news first at 4. The FBI is still looking for a missing teenage girl kidnapped from Peru, Illinois. Information has been limited until now. A press conference is scheduled to happen at any moment. The Chicago Bureau of the FBI released this picture of a car that is wanted involved with the kidnapping. They also found a shoe in the area, a pink shoe, 7.5 size. We have that on our Facebook page right now. Now, they are preparing for a news conference in Peru. We are going to continue to monitor this. We will take you to you as soon as they come to the podium. You're also looking at a car that is wanted in connection with this. It could be a white Ford Excursion. This kidnapping happened yesterday morning in Peru. FBI officials say they could be headed towards Springfield. The girl is 14 to 16 years old. Multiple witnesses say 2 men forced the girl into the vehicle that you see here. She was screaming and yelling. If you have any information, you are going to call police, and we do hear now that they are coming to the podium at that news conference. We want to take you to that live. Do we have that news conference? All right. Well, we're going to try and bring you to that news conference as soon as they get to the podium. We are continuing to monitor the latest information. Here's that news conference.
I'm going to ask Sheriff Tom Templeton to come up here and address a group of agencies. Many of them are here represented now. Many of them couldn't. They had to get back to their departments. So Sheriff is going to talk about a task force that was assembled, who participated in the investigation, and then I'll try and come back and give you some facts and circumstances surrounding why we're here this afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Tom Templeton. I'm the LaSalle County Sheriff. And as part of the duties that I have as sheriff, one is to coordinate the major case squad that we have out here in our area. And that major case squad comes into play when we have a crime that gets pretty much what we would consider beyond the capabilities of any of the single agencies that we have here. We have an extremely good working relationship with all the agencies in the 3-county area, as well as the state and federal agencies that are here to help us. So basically what my job is, and was in regard to this situation, is to coordinate all the groups and put this major case squad together when Chief Burnaby called and told us what was happening in the early morning hours. Get people here, get people on the street, get people out working, and do it in a very quick fashion, because basically in any kind of a case like this, first 24 hours are obviously very, very critical. So we want to get as much on the street as we can, as much resources as we can, and enough people, as many people as we can. We have obviously the Peru Police, the FBI, State Police, LaSalle and Bureau County Sheriff's Office, LaSalle County State's Attorney's Office, LaSalle Police, Ottawa Police, Mendota Police, the Trident Task Force, that's our local drug task force here, comprised of all the agencies in the 3 counties, the Peoria Police, Spring Valley Police, Streeter Police, and Princeton Police. These were basically the agencies that we were able to get together to come on very short notice and come together to start this investigation. As it's being investigated from the command post level is where I end up, where the chief ends up, and where other individuals that we bring together will be there to make decisions that we need to be made, while the staff on the street are running down the leads that are coming in and doing the best we can, again, to make this whole situation get resolved as soon as it can possibly can in the best way that it possibly can.
All right, you've been listening to a news conference there in LaSalle County, Peru, Illinois, where a 14 to a 16-year-old girl was kidnapped yesterday. That is the sheriff of LaSalle County who is speaking. They have told us that they have launched a major case squad, which includes multiple counties from multiple agencies from 3 different counties, including the state and federal resources, to search for this girl. They said that the first 24 hours in finding her is the most critical. They are continuing their search efforts today. They are asking anyone with information to come forward. We have posted more information on this, including a clue in this case, which is a shoe, on our website. That's WANDTV.com. You can also get it on our news app. We will, of course, bring you the latest on this news conference at 5 and 6. Our Tristan Hardy is at that news conference, and we will bring you the latest then. We are going to turn to developing news now. A massive fire at a northern Illinois chemical plant still smoldering today. You see it there. Hundreds of families were evacuated. Industrial firefighting crews are working to protect a local river. Now, officials say this fire could last for several more days, and this afternoon, hundreds of firefighters are working the flames. Megan Fitzgerald is in Rockton with the very latest.
It's been more than 24 hours since the initial explosion, and while this plume is subsiding some, it's still significant and it's still smoldering. We know that the initial fire started at around 7 o'clock Monday morning. Around 70 employees were inside the plant at the time. Everyone managing to make it out without any injuries, but smoke could be seen for miles away. Neighbors describing feeling the heat of the explosion, hearing an explosion and then hearing several more. Others saying that debris flew into their yards and they live miles away from the site. Now, to put this all into context for you, we're talking about a chemical plant that manufactures lubricants for the automotive as well as the agricultural industry. So we're talking about highly flammable and toxic chemicals here that will be burning for days. The reason for that is because there's concern about the environment. Firefighters are limiting the amount of water that they're pouring on this blaze because they're concerned of contaminated runoff making its way into a nearby creek, which is just about 300 yards from here. As for the cause, it's still under investigation. Fire officials searching at this hour. Megan Fitzgerald, NBC News. Back to you.
And although the fire chief says air quality readings are good, showing no signs of chemicals in the air, an evacuation order is still in place. So far, 2 firefighters have suffered minor injuries while battling those flames. And we want to take you outside to a live look over Lake Decatur. Right now, you can see some clouds in the sky. Not much of a concern here, but we want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Jim Kozak, who's monitoring the air quality. We mentioned that up there, nothing major right now, but we could see some impacts from the fire?
Little to nothing around here, Chris. If the fire could last up until, say, Friday, that's when some thunderstorms will be dropping in from the north and could pull down some of the air from Rockton. But even at that stage of the game, the wind's going to be huffing and puffing, which would allow for mixing of different air masses. So I think we're going to have little to no impacts this far south. Matter of fact, when you take a look at our futurecast wind particles, they're out of the north, but very, very limited. Even later tonight, they're starting to shift out of the northeast. And then by the time we get to later in the day, Wednesday, and especially true on Thursday, they shift out of the south or southeast. So for the most part, no problems here. We did have a few wind gusts today in the upper teens and lower 20s, but for the most part, we're looking A-OK, and it's comfortably warm, or should I say seasonably warm. More details on that when I return.
Our team of meteorologists are tracking your local forecast. To keep up to date, download the WAND weather app. Breaking news at 4, a budget veto. The governor sending spending bills back to lawmakers. WAND's Megan Whitlock joins us in the studio. Exactly what's changed, Megan?
Well, Chris, the governor is sending the spending bill back to add the proper effective date. Governor Pritzker issued an amendatory veto to Senate Bill 2800. That's because when lawmakers passed it, it didn't have the proper start dates. Senate Bill 2800 is the spending bill for fiscal year 2022. It's for both the operating and capital budget. Today, Governor Pritzker released a statement saying, quote, "It is evident that the errors and omissions in the effective date provision of Senate Bill 2800 were inadvertent, as all appropriations bills traditionally have effective dates that align with the language of the appropriations. Without the amendatory veto, some of the money would not be available until June of next year. That's 11 months into fiscal year 2022. Now that bill will go back to the House and Senate, where they need a 3/5 vote to pass it." In the studio, Megan Whitlock, WAND News.
Megan, thank you. Lawmakers are also taking on a clean energy bill while back at the State House. 2 proposals are currently being discussed after a Senate Energy Committee meeting this morning. Both proposals look to convert Illinois to renewable energy, but on different timelines. Lobbyists and legislatures in favor of the legislation voiced their opinion outside the State House this morning.
The fight before us is not simply just about climate. but it's about racial justice and economic justice. It's about which communities get to thrive, which communities get to live with the safety of clean air, clean water, a good job.
So far, an official bill has not been presented to the Senate. A call for support of law enforcement coming up next. Community members prepare to make their voices heard over the treatment of police. Happening tonight, a march to City Council. Champaign community members are coming together to fight for better treatment for local police officers. A walk is set to start at 6 o'clock tonight and will head to the City Council meeting, which will begin at 6:30. Karen Isert is there now in Champaign with what we can expect. Hi, Karen.
Yeah, Chris, tonight a lot of people are expected to probably give a lot of public comment at tonight's City Council meeting. Many people are upset. They're disappointed for what they say the City Council and the attitude that they've had towards law enforcement here in town. Now, tonight's march will actually start at the Champaign Police Department, and it's going to head all the way to the Champaign City Building. Now, like I mentioned before, many people are upset. They're disappointed with the way that they say the attitude the City Council has had towards law enforcement. Their goal tonight to show up and support the Champaign Police. Now, organizers of this march say they are concerned with the way the community is heading, especially with the recent gun violence. They want to see more support for local law enforcement, especially after the recent murder of Champaign police officer Chris Oberheim. Now, Chris, like you mentioned, tonight's meeting is going to start at 6:30. Again, people will start gathering around here at the Champaign Police Department starting around 6. Reporting live in Champaign, I'm Karen Isert, WAND News.
Karen, thank you. And this march comes just weeks after a man shot and killed Officer Chris Oberheim. That man also shot another officer, Jeffrey Creel. Both officers were responding to a domestic disturbance call. Officer Creel is still recovering. And today, the Champaign Police Department is thanking an individual from the community who wrote a letter to the fallen officer's family. The person wrote that they have been living in their car for 3 years, but they wanted to send something to help the Oberheim family. They provided $10. The letter did not have a name. The department wants whoever made that donation to come forward. Well, whether it is kayaking or paddleboarding, there is a danger on the water. Coming up in 6 minutes, officials want you to know how to stay safe while staying active.
And Flooring America takes a pit stop at EIU, showing O'Brien Stadium, clouds and sunshine, but I'll show you stormy weather when I return.
Well, thanks, Jim. As more people hit the water, officials are issuing a safety reminder. Those in canoes, kayaks, and paddleboards are at a higher risk of injury than those in motorized boats. The Illinois Department of Natural Resources wants to remind you to stay safe.
Paddlers are twice as likely to drown than an average boater. Most of our fatalities are results from drownings. Those individuals did not have life jackets on when they fell off the craft that they were on.
IDNR says to know your area, never paddle alone, and if you do go alone, leave a plan with locations and times with someone so they can check on you. Always check weather conditions, stay alert and hydrated. Well, you could have COVID-19 before officials knew it was in the U.S. Still to come, the earliest date experts think the virus arrived. New at 4, if you think you had COVID-19 before official cases were reported, you might be right. A new analysis by the CDC of 24,000 blood samples taken from early last year suggests COVID antibodies actually came to the U.S. in December of 2019. The CDC originally said COVID-19 cases first appeared in late January of 2020. This study, though, is still under review. And you can give back right here in your own community. WAND News has teamed up with the Macon County Senior Center to help keep seniors cool this summer. We're giving fans to those who need them. This year, the Senior Center hopes to get 100 fans donated.
It would mean a tremendous amount because the demand is huge because it's been, hot lately, and the seniors can more easily afford to run a fan than an air conditioner.
And if you want to donate, we will be at Walmart North in Decatur on Thursday from 7 to 1. We'll be right back with an update on that breaking news out of Peru. We have a breaking news update on the kidnapping out of Peru. The victim has been found safe. She has been identified as a young woman in her 20s rather than a teenager, as police originally said. She was found in Peoria. Police say 27-year-old Bobby Cross is a person of interest. There is a warrant out for his arrest. Police say Cross and the victim did have a past relationship. He is still at large. If you have any information, you are asked to call police. We will, of course, continue to bring you coverage on air and on WANDTV.com. Well, we are working on news stories for you tonight at 5. Feeding Children of the World, how a local community has come together to feed millions worldwide through the years. Plus, back in session, what lawmakers are working to push through before this session ends. Jim?
We're going to be looking at a comfortably warm day tomorrow with low humidity, also during the course of next Tuesday. So it's a bookend, comfortable forecast. Sandwiched in between, that's when the humidity is going to be on an uptick, with the peak of the humidity being the latter stages of Thursday on and through Friday. And look for occasional thunderstorms second half of Friday, also into this upcoming holiday weekend. So keep an eye to the sky. Cancel no outdoor plans, as the thunderstorm threat, while it does linger Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, would only be an hour or two in any one given location. Chris.
Good time to download the WND Weather app. We'll be back at 5 and 6 with more news and weather. We'll see you then. Have a great night.